winder. This will come in really handy here. You can put it on here, and then yeah, just make sure you go in the right direction. It's kind of important. Alright, so you got that one pretty loose, and you can see it gets, you know, you can just kind of pull it off. Alright, so we got that one off. Let's continue on around. Yeah, just like that. Alright. Okay, so you finish this part. You got all your strings. What you want to do is you want to pull out these bridge pins here. So you just kind of grab it, and you got to apply a little bit of force for sure. Yeah, you just, you're going to pull out the bridge pins. Sometimes it's easier to start with different ones. So I pull this one out. Alright, so you want to put these in a place where you're not going to lose them. So I'm going to set mine here. Pull the next one. So you can do it this way. This string winder, as you can see, it has this part here, so it makes it really easy to pull these, pop these loose. Go like this. There we go. All right. If you drop it in the guitar, just, you know, tilt it upside down, try to fish it out. Grab all of your strings here. Just kind of gather them up. And what I usually do is, I don't usually throw them away immediately. And the reason is that if one of my new strings breaks for some reason, or I need a quick replacement, it is possible to put these old strings back on again. And so usually it's a smart idea to just kind of keep them for a little bit. So I usually wind them up like this, just so they don't go flying everywhere and, you know, stabbing me. So you do this. So set these off to the side. Take some lemon oil here and a rag, and put a little bit of the lemon oil in this rag here, just in this little section. That should be good. Don't need much. And then just wipe down the fretboard, because the wood of the fretboard can often get dried out. Lemon oil helps keep the wood just from getting too dried out. If it dries out, it can shrink, it can warp, it can do stuff like that. So it's just really good to keep the wood healthy to do that. And whenever you take the strings off, that's usually a good opportunity. So now what you want to do is you want to take your guitar strings. As you can see here, the packaging has all of these strings color-coded. So open up this package. Got all our strings. So what we're going to start with, the big E string. And from what I see, that is this brass one here. So on the packaging it says that the 6th E string is brass. We want the one with the ball end here, that's brass. So we'll separate it out here, just unwind this a little. And we'll set the A string off to the side for now. So we're going to take this string, and the first thing we want to do is we want to put this ball end in the bridge, in this section, through its hole. So what you see with the bridge pin is there's a little groove on one side. That's the side that the string is going to go through, and it's going to face towards the neck of the guitar. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this ball end through its hole. We want to orient the ball end so that it's wedged between this top of the guitar here and the bridge pin. So we're going to insert it. Then we're going to insert the pin after. And as I push the pin in, I'm going to pull on the string. So now what we do is we move over to the neck here. And I'm going to thread the string through the tuning post hole. Probably what you want is you want the hole to be oriented this way, so you thread it this way. So now you want to get some of the slack out, and what I usually do is I think about, you take about probably 4 inches of slack above the 3rd fret. So probably about there. Because you want your string to wrap around the post here a few times, so you don't want to take all the slack out immediately. So once you've figured out, a good amount of slack, then put a little bend in the wire here. So now what you're going to do is you're going to start turning the tuning post. Make sure your string is in its notch in this nut right here. Use one hand to hold the string in place and apply a little bit of tension as you start turning. And what you want to do is you want to turn in such a way the string winds in this direction. Right? So for these 3 strings, they're all going to wind outward in this direction, and for these 3 strings, they're going to wind in the opposite direction. You may have to crimp the wire a little bit again to make sure it doesn't slip out as you start turning. Alright, and what you want, make sure that it's winding down. Sometimes you can go in some crazy directions, so just keep an eye on it until it gets started. So you get about 1 revolution in, and then your next wind will wrap around just below the first wind. You can start applying a bit more tension just to keep it taut. Alright, so we got a couple good revolutions. And you don't want to tune it all the way up at this point. We're gonna do that at the very end once we've put all the strings on. Alright, so now we're going to move on to our A string, which according to our packaging is red. So I'm going to take the one with the red end here. I'm going to put it in the next hole. And I'm going to give it about the same amount of slack as the E string, but slightly more. It's a thinner string, so it can wrap around maybe slightly more. But yeah, this one, yeah. So I'm going to put a bend in it right here. So for this A string here, as you can see, I put my little bend in the wire. So I have my bend in the wire, and then I apply tension with one hand while I begin winding with the other. Wind, okay. And you got to make sure that the wire stays in place. You don't want it to give out. So just kind of bend it until it holds. Alright, then you start winding. So this is a very thin string. Your B and your E strings are very thin, which means that whenever you go to wind them, you're going to wind them a lot of times since they're so thin. So you can leave a lot more slack. I usually go out to the 5th fret here, and I leave somewhere between 6 and 8 inches. So I'll probably do that much. That should be good. Just kind of bend it upwards while you start pulling. Make sure it stays in its groove. Insert it. Put it through its hole. Now the E string, the high E string, it's the thinnest, and so you can wrap it around your post many times. So again, like with the B string, I'll put it above the 5th fret, and I'll keep about 6 to 8 inches of slack. So I'm going to do about that much. And I'll just try this out. So put my bend in it. Right. You have to constantly readjust and reposition it as you begin winding. Make sure you wind in the correct direction. I would say strings tend to go flat right after you've restrung a guitar, so you'll tune it and then they'll go flat and you'll make them in tune again until eventually they gain some stability. And there you have it. That's how to restring a guitar.